Thor Ragnarok, buns for funds. Buns for funds. Everybody in this channel knows my position on Thor Ragnarok. Maybe you don't. I'll say it real quick. It's ass. If a movie lands in this category, it's just ass for cash. But essentially, Thor Ragnarok, to me, the reason it's bad isn't necessarily because it's a cash grab. Actually, it is a cash grab. They put in the Hulk, they wanted that extra little publicity, but also they just 180'd Thor so hard. If you know my position on this, you can skip this video because I'm just gonna rant the whole way through. He's not a comedic relief, especially not in the beginning when you meet him. Thor is very, hear thee, I am the son of Odin. And then as he evolves, he becomes a little bit more just entrenched in the English kind of vocabulary and the little slangs that we say and the things that we do. So I could understand that evolution, right? But the tonal shift of Thor from things like from Dark Ages, the first original Thor, those were a lot darker movies, and I really wish Marvel would just trust the process, not half-ass the dark tones of Thor, because I think there could be some seriously badass moments in Thor's like movie history where we could have looked back on and been like, that was sick, because they decided on that tone shift for Thor. Like Iron Man, Tony Stark's character has some witty banter in his own movies that then get infused in any Avengers movies or whatever he's working with next. That all works well because it stands and sticks with his character. The brightening up of Thor could still happen, and I have no problem with him becoming a more normal like human on Earth and a more like comedic effect. Thor had so much loss at that point and was then gonna also experience so much more loss coming up. He didn't know it at that point, of course, but he was literally gonna lose his people, lose Loki. And of course I understand the drive to, there's the cutest golden retriever to my left right now in this yellow car. I understand the tonal shift to being a more depressed and just at its lowest Thor, when he's lost literally everything and everyone. That's definitely something that I could get behind. But to then also go to something like Endgame, where it just feels like you took that depression and absolute low and decided to just portray it in what I feel like is not a good way. Thor could have been really down bad, and we could have really seen him and Chris Hemsworth especially show his ability to display like a real Thor at his lowest, maybe even being a little like, I want to say frustrated, but just more desperate. We could have really seen a Thor down tremendous. And I think this would have also give Chris Hemsworth a great opportunity to flex his ability, his acting ability in showing us a more humanized Thor. And in that, you might have even been able to, on the back end, and this is a lot to do in just one movie. So this is why I don't like the tonal shift of Ragnarok all in one swing, because we're going from a more serious Thor to such a lighthearted Thor. To then have to display such a depressed, low Thor feels like you're doing him a disservice. And we could have seen a really cool, really sad version of Thor. But it would have also, on the rise back, humanized him in a way that he might have never been before, because now we've seen the lowest low Thor that we could have ever seen. I will always have a problem with Thor Ragnarok being the tonal shift, the immediate, in my opinion, tonal shift to Thor. What I won't have a problem with though is moving forward. I just know now not to take Thor as a serious character. Not that any of these characters are like super mad, crazy serious. I just mean Thor as like a tonal, serious character is just not something that I'm expecting anymore. So when it comes to Love and Thunder and the hate that it got, I didn't really understand it at that point, because at that point, I really wasn't expecting anything serious out of him. Even with the intro to, I think it was Eternity and how cool that would have been, or Valhalla, I believe Jane dies, if I'm not mistaken. And all these serious things, I just know Thor is not gonna necessarily take serious because we haven't given him that leg room to be able to show that he can be that serious. That is my buns for funds and possibly hot take. You let me know what you think down below, and also your buns for funds down below. Peace.